Are you aware of how you feel after you travel? Whether it's car rides or plane rides or train rides or any automobile or anything of the sort? If you aren't, there's probably some stuff going on that if you bring to your awareness might help you either recover from that travel or just be aware of, okay, I'm now here. What happened? So travel, it's a kind of a new concept in the evolution of humans. Obviously, we have been traveling for a long time, but think about how it started. It started with us walking and jogging and sprinting when it's hunting and getting away from predators. And then we introduce riding animals and yada, yada, yada. Now we are in tubes in the sky, flying to different places in a fraction of the time that it would have taken if you got somewhere the old-fashioned way, even an old-fashioned way of taking a train and getting on a boat and taking another train when you get somewhere. We've evolved a lot, but that doesn't mean that our neurologic wiring up there has evolved to the environment that we are in currently. So, if you're not aware, this is a lot of experience for me just being aware that, okay, travel is a stress. And it's a pretty big stress in the sense of if we're built to jog, and sprint, being in a car is a completely different ballgame for travel. In an airplane is exponentially different, and that's where we're going to put our focus into today because I've got a lot of people that are flying all over the place, and we want to make sure that we minimize the negatives that are happening for most people, whether they know it or not. One of the bigger eye openers for me was the pandemic. I knew a lot of people that traveled a whole lot for their jobs, for their pleasure, whatever. When they stopped and they couldn't anymore, most every one of them was like, I feel a lot better. I had no idea that had such a toll on me. And that's a wild part of neurology and training your brain is you might not know there's a problem unless you put a plan together, execute that plan, and see how you feel after. So it's that idea of for myself, one of my whoa of that type was ears ringing. I didn't know they were ringing until they stopped ringing for the first time after doing vestibular work. I think it was combined with tongue and respiration work. It's like, oh, I had no idea that I was dealing with ear ringing all the time until again I went, all right, I've got big concussion history. It damages the hearing and balance nerve most often. I probably have some rehab to do in those areas. Let me plan a drill to do that, or a series of drills, do a head movement with some tongue stuff, with a respiratory activity, and whoa, the ringing stopped. And that ringing was ultimately a damaged vestibular cochlear nerve producing something. Something is better than nothing. Like a nerve that's not firing that should be is a problem. So ringing is at least some sort of hearing stimulus, even though it was internally driven. Well, vision is internally driven if you didn't know. We don't just get the image upside down, flip it onto our occipital lobe, and now I see the world. We actually have to construct our reality, especially when it comes to anything. That's a wild part of neurology to think about. But we're talking about travel right now. So you get to your place. Often you're at minimum hyperactive. Your nervous system just went through a very novel event that we are not wired for, and it is now a little bit more everything. So I'm more likely to just kind of jump from one thing to the next. I'm not going to remember much of what I did. I will be talking very fast, and I will be kind of on edge about things. I want my hotel room to be ready. Why isn't my meal right? Whatever it might be, you've got to think, how do I do when I get to where I want to go? And how am I doing when I get back? So What's going on? Why is there an effect from travel, even if you're not aware of it? I mean, again, most everybody is dealing with something from an athletic perspective. Look at wins, losses on the road versus home. Look at injury rates away from home in different stadiums. We've said, oh, it's a novel place. It's a different stadium. The lighting is different. It's a hostile environment. My thought is, you started here neurologically before you traveled. Now you're playing here, and that amount is enough for the injury, for the I missed the target when I needed to hit the target. I missed the ball when I needed to hit the ball. Ultimately, executing to the level that's required in that moment more consistently. I think all of that suffers, and it's not because you're on the road in a different city. It's the time and travel it took to get there. So what's happening? Why is that the case? It's called sensory mismatch. Ultimately, our brain is constantly receiving signals from every type of environmental input, including our own internal input, and putting it together to tell a story. We want that story to tell the same types of things across the board. So let's simply put it into basic categories right now. We need to move well. We need to balance well. Balance also shares hearing. We need to move well, see well, and all of that needs to integrate well. So we are an integration machine. We are constantly bombarded by signals. We're constantly making decisions and interpretations on what are those signals, what do they mean, and what do I do about it? So if we go see, balance, move, integrate, now let's put ourselves onto a flight. So we're on the actual flight. We can talk about pre-flight routine, the stress of airports, not allowing enough time. There are plenty of variables there. But let's talk about the specifics on flight, because it seems like everyone is like, well, no big deal, we fly. Yeah, we do. It's amazing. It's amazing that a brain or a collections of brains figured that out, number one. Number two, yeah, it's a fantastic tool. But it doesn't mean it doesn't come with a cost because we like it so much. It gets me somewhere so much faster. It gets me to new places that I never would have been able to go. It's really cool, but it comes with a cost. It opened up leagues to be able to move across the country. But again, it comes with a cost. Most everything that we are doing in our world that is making it easier for us as humans is coming at a neurologic cost. So let's talk about that cost, or let's talk about what's happening sensory mismatch wise on an airplane. You're sitting there. What is your movement system telling you? You're sitting in a chair. Yeah, I got an itch. I'll get up and go to the bathroom. So I at least have to stand, sit down, and walk a little bit. But ultimately, for the majority of that plane ride, your movement system is saying, hey, we are just sitting here stationary in a chair. It's relatively comfy, but it's not built for great human ergonomic function. It puts our heads forward a little bit. We can't extend through that mid chest to lengthen our spine out in good posture. We're kind of slumped into it, so it's automatically just kind of making a passive seated position where we're just like kind of blobs in a seat. So that's what your movement system's telling you. What do you think your vision system is telling you? You're sitting there. Is there movement happening? Yeah, there are people moving. You can see the screen moving in front of you. You've got people walking by. But do you know that you are moving across space? Not really. It kind of looks like I'm sitting in a room. I think that's a fair enough judgment. I'm not looking out the window the whole time. The majority of it is sitting here, either looking at a device, looking at a tablet, looking at a book, sleeping, which is just goodbye sensory input from eyes. But ultimately, our vision system is telling us we are sitting in a room. What is your balance system doing? Most of you don't even know we have a balance system. It's called your vestibular system. It is your onboard balance system. If you travel through your ear canals into the inner ear, kind of right behind the eyes back there, are fluid-filled canals with little crystals in them. They tell you where you are and where you are going. Think of like spinning a hula hoop. There's this little sail that as you spin the hula hoop goes, oh, there's movement of the fluid in that hula hoop. That sail is connected to a nerve. That nerve fires into the temporal lobe. The temporal lobe is processing, hey, we're getting signals from the left horizontal canal activating and the right horizontal canal inhibiting. Must mean we have turned our head to the left. The other part of that is the where we're going. So the moving forward, backward, up and down, side to side, without the angular movements of our head. That is the nutshell of our balance system. Part of it is angular movements. You just saw all of the vestibular canals in action right there. There is also the translation through space stuff. Forward, backward, side to side, up and down, tipping one way, tipping the other way. All of it is massively important for everything that we do. What does balance system gone wrong look like? Anyone experience or know someone that has experienced vertigo knows there's a lot. I would rather deal with a broken bone. Like what a miserable experience. I don't know where I am. I don't know which way is up. The world is spinning. Often I'm throwing up because there are balance associations within the insula and our internal environment. So yes, we know that. Just getting spun around can make me sick. Getting on carnival rides can make me sick. We know this. Like it's just we didn't know the neurology or the connections between it. So our balance system, what is it telling you on a flight? Well, initial takeoff, it's in, holy cow, we are going really fast forward. Then there's this moment of, oh my God, we're off the ground. Normally, our balance system says, well, if we're off the ground, that probably means we're jumping. So we probably got some input from our movement system and vision system to do that. But here we are sitting in a chair in a room that's stationary, and we just went up and forward. Then it starts to normalize. We aren't going to continually just say up and forward, up and forward, up and forward, up and forward, but there will be banks, left and right. There will be further elevation, reductions in elevation, turbulence. Stuff like that is a major balance stimulation, major activation of the balance nerves. Then you've got the landing, exact opposite. Whoa, why are we slowing down? Oh, we are dropping through gravity. Oh, we might have to bank again. We might have to bank again. So really, the balance system is the one player in the room saying, why the heck am I the only one out of movement and vision that is saying we are thousands of feet off the ground going hundreds of miles an hour forward? That is called sensory mismatch. One part of that puzzle is not telling what the rest of that puzzle is, and that is a great recipe for a reduction in everything that you're doing. Reduction in performance, reduction in ability to pay attention, reduction in just the overall how you feel when you get places. Again, you might not be aware, but for most people, there's something that is happening on the other side of these flights, whether you know it or not. Now, maybe going, sensory mismatch could create problems, could create that pain in your neck, could create that anxiety of wanting to go home from a vacation that you just got to, could create depression, irritation, anger. You might be one of those people that's angry on vacation. Most people, like I've heard this, that like the most fighting in couples often is like what to eat while on vacation. How stupid is that? Food is awesome. You're on vacation, so you're probably picking something good any which way you put it. It's not like McDonald's or Burger King tonight, honey. F McDonald's. I don't want McDonald's again. We need to do Burger King. I don't want to do Burger King. It's further away. Whatever is happening in your world. But take note. How are you when you land? How are you when you want to go do things? Some people, like working with somebody that deals with some major cramping. And we're on a theory right now that is how you're traveling could absolutely be a part of this response when you land. So thinking of things that can help and reduce your performance, like sensory mismatch is a big one. That is car rides too. How do you know it's happening? One is be aware. How am I before? How am I after? Ooh, I'm a little more upset. Oh, I'm a little angry. I'm a little rushed. I want to get to the airport, or I want to get to the hotel. I want to, whatever. I need a drink. You might find that I need something. I crave something because your brain is upset. It's just spent X amount of time in a sensory mismatch, straight up burning calories to try and figure out what's going on, because we talked about the integration piece. It needs all of the information to be accurate, to integrate well, for your brain to go, hey, relax. We are on a flight. We chose this. It's comfy. We're looking straight ahead. We're in a room, but that room is going thousands of feet off the ground, going hundreds of miles forward. Relax. We're just not there yet evolutionarily. Plain and simple. We're built to walk, jog, sprint, jump, land. Swim would be a unique voluntary effort that's been around for a long time. Boats would probably be one of those that is more likely to be okay. Unless it's rough seas. But again, going back to flights. So now you know, sensory mismatch happens when we fly. It can make you feel worse. It can make you perform worse. It can make you a higher risk of injury. You could make a injury last longer if you're flying a lot. So I'm not here to just say, all right, now you know, don't fly, or now you know, fly, and sorry, good luck. I would love to be with one of these World Cup teams that is traveling all over the place in the World Cup, especially through different time zones. It would be so cool to see what, if we put some interventions in, hey, we need to do vision rehab, we need to do inner ear work, we need to do respiration to fuel the nervous system, we need to behave a certain way on these flights, we need to minimize this, maximize that. I would be really curious to see how that team did. Whether it's just, oh, we got a chance and that player just sprayed it over the bar. The quality just wasn't enough. I want to know if this stuff can make that goal go in. I want to know if making a save, what a heartbreaker for the Netherlands goalkeeper to make a phenomenal save and then heel it into his own net. What if there was a reduction performance that led to him getting that much less of his hand on the ball? That much less led to it off the post, into his heel, into his goal. What if he got that much more hand on the ball? It's wide. Who knows? But I am so curious to know, if we manage our flights, our travel experiences, are we getting more of what we want and what we expect, especially in the athletic world? So what do you do about it? What can possibly be done to manage and minimize that sensory mismatch? One, there is prehab stuff. So doing things before you fly. There is our in-flight considerations, doing things while you fly. There is rehab that you can do post-flight. Let's talk about in-flight, because the pre and the post would require you to understand some basic neuro drills and ways to activate the nervous system. Those will come from me over time, but I'm not really interested in putting that together. You can go online right now and find all of that. Go to the Z Health Performance YouTube channel, Instagram, you name it. Click on the balance system aspect of that channel and you will find all sorts of vestibular and vision type of training. So I'm not here to just rehash what they have. I am here to take what I learned from them, what I've experienced in the real world, and hopefully share with you some really cool things that you can do now. So let's talk about on flight. Does anyone notice how loud planes are? Like I used to, and this is personal example, personal exploration of just feeling thrashed after flying. Like I was in the youth soccer world for a good amount of time. We flew a lot of places. And I had a physical job when we got there. It wasn't just, hey, talk to the players, shake hands, walk to a field, walk off the field, go get food, jump in the car. A head coach that doesn't have a physical requirement will probably most likely deal with anger, irritation, being short with players, especially after a flight. But for me, I had to strike soccer balls. I had to be a goalkeeper coach. And I took pride in my ability to do that. If I'm not hitting the target, the goalkeeper's not getting work done. So I take a lot of pride in my accuracy and precision when I'm warming up goalkeepers, when I'm training goalkeepers, to make sure that I'm getting them the reps that they need. A lot of my career was watching balls go wide, past and over posts because one, they weren't great at shooting, and two, they obviously certainly weren't very good at scoring. So that was a lot of my own experience going, man, how many reps missed? So I had a physical activity that I needed to do a lot of after I landed. And I was noticing I would deal with something within the trip or right after. The initial one was a long drive from San Diego to Northern California in the Santa Cruz area. I went to warm up a goalkeeper. I take a shot and I feel this stabbing pain right in like the inner thigh, top of thigh, on the shooting leg, and went, oh, great. So for that day, I flipped to the other foot, and I still hurt, but it was manageable. No, the goalkeepers did not get the same warm-up off of my weak foot that they got on my strong foot. But it's not a bad weak foot when it comes to shooting. So I was able to warm them up, just not to my standard. So that was one of them. Another one was in, oh man, Vegas. We were at an ECNL showcase. We had two teams there, and I'm bouncing around fields all day. I had my own rental car so I could get in and out when I needed to and not just on one team's itinerary. But I think it was like on day 3. Yeah, it was the last day of play. And I wake up, I have a morning routine. It's very neurologic in nature. I'm doing vision drills, I'm doing respiration stuff, balance work, mobility stuff, just to maintain and make sure that I'm hitting the standards that I have for myself when it comes to me coaching and performing. And I was doing a breathing drill. It was semi-new, it was resisted, it had all this tech on it, so I had to use my phone to, like, you tested your VO2 every day and some other respiratory, like a respiratory quotient. I don't remember. But I haven't, go figure, I haven't used it since. But it was a respiration device. It had resistance involved. And I felt like I was in a little bit of a rush. Like I was up a little late. I finished my morning walk. I'm looking at it going, I gotta kind of get going. So I start my morning routine when it comes to the respiration work. One breath and sing, just locked up the right one side of my spine. Like, ooh, I'm such an idiot. I know about pain, and it doesn't freak me out from a structural perspective anymore because we're past that in our general understanding of what pain is. Does not necessarily and very rarely is a structural issue. Yeah, you heard that. That's nuts, right? That, hey, my elbow hurts and it might not be a radial ulnar ligament damage. Hey, my knee hurts and it might not be any of the ligaments, meniscus, or anything else in that general area. Yeah, it's true. I know. It blew my mind, and it still takes time for me to digest and truly, like, I intuitively understand now because I've worked with enough people and seen resolution of pain and worked with myself and resolved a whole lot of pain to where I can't be in the court of ouch, 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 my shoulder hurts. Let's take a picture of your shoulder. Let's move it around and do everything focused on resolving that problem from the site that has the pain. I don't know who said it, but someone much smarter than me was he who seeks answers at the site of pain is commonly lost. Yet we have built an entire industry around, oh, that hurts? it's got to be that at some level. It doesn't. And I'm seeing that with a lot of people that fall through the cracks. I got a foot pain. I got the foot surgery. I still have foot pain. I have a groin problem. I get the groin surgery. I still have a groin problem. Or even simply myself, I have a shoulder injury, pain. I've got structural damage. I said no thank you to the surgery. I go to physical therapy. We work on everything that is the shoulder, from range of motion to strength to zapping it to cooling it to heating it to whatever that we do in physical therapy. It didn't get that much better. Soon as I learned about motor control and motor exercise and complex nonlinear movement and syncing that with a very attentive brain, I found that improving the mapping of my thoracic spine, improving the mapping of my shoulder complex through complex nonlinear movement. As you can tell, a circle is not linear, where this or this is. And then I did some lower cervical mapping that was very tight and very stuck, and got the vertebrae moving in a very controlled fashion. And that took away like 75, 80% of the current issue I had after I had done everything but that surgery. And I'm glad I didn't, because I don't have a problem anymore. I'd never think, oh, am I going to hurt that torn labrum more? Ooh, if I do that, am I going to hurt my shoulder more? I don't think that way because it doesn't hurt. So, and I've had pain elsewhere and I've been able to resolve it on my own. So that was a nasty one from the ECNL event. Just locked up. I could bear, like I gutted through it. Like pain tolerance went way up with a neurologic education in modern pain science. Like I can handle a lot that I used to just crumble under in comparison. So it's like, oh, this sucks. Barely did my job that day. Barely got the goalkeepers warmed up. Barely hit a ball well. Even my weak foot or my non-dominant foot was a challenge. And I got home, tried a bunch of stuff. Nothing was working. And went, oh, all right. I exhausted the guesses. I have to assess things. So I videoed my vision skill drills. I videoed the vestibular work. I videoed my cerebellar assessments. I watched these videos. I found, I think, 3 different places that I was like, oh, that's not working well. I think convergence up and in was one. Like a right horizontal canal was another. And I can't quite remember I think it was just coordination of the left side was just not doing very well. Put together a drill based on those findings, and I just felt that just release. And no, it didn't stay, but now I had direction and I had training to resolve it. So every day I was doing work on that. Ooh, it's starting to hurt, make it go away. Neuroplasticity wise, we know that if we are changing our brain, it gets better at changing, and we are a product of environment we are interacting with our environment largely. So the more time I can stay out of pain and moving, the faster my brain will change back to non-painful movement. But we don't live there either. We say, don't move, don't look at it, don't breathe on it, stay away from it. It might die. It might get up and walk off of you. Don't think about it. It's the worst advice that we could do, or we could give. So those two were like, oh my God, I need to do something about this travel thing because I'm falling apart. I'm breaking down. So did you notice how loud, full circle, did you notice how loud flights are? I am exhausted. If I have to talk to somebody, I feel like I'm yelling over the flight, over just the general noise of a flight. Putting earplugs in, oh my gosh, what a game changer. Just take away some of that noise. I also changed headphones. If you didn't know, there is going to be some stuff coming out about the negatives of noise cancellation headphones. Do you ever wonder how it cancels noise? Like if I plug my ears right now, I can still hear some stuff, So how can a set of headphones be so good at taking away all sound? It does it through a frequency. That frequency, I don't know if it's there or not. I have heard this through the grapevine, but it makes a whole lot of sense. And getting out of noise cancellation for me was an absolute game changer. It screws with your balance nerve. Hearing and balance, vestibulocochlear, vestibulo, balance system, cochlear, hearing, share the same nerve. So while you're canceling out all noise, you are also stressing the heck out of the balance system, which is already super stressed out because it's the only one in the room saying, we are thousands of feet off the ground. We are going hundreds of miles an hour forward. Why am I the only one telling this story? Movement. Why are we not running at that speed and jumping at that height? Vision. Why are we not getting the input that all of this stuff is passing us at 500 miles an hour? We can look and go, ooh, we're very far off the ground. But we're not doing that the whole flight. So we are spending a lot of time in this room, in the sky. So we're already pissing the balance nerve off. Then we go into noise cancellation headphones and we play music too loud, whatever it is. So just by going away from noise cancellation is a big, big step. You want to go gold standard, earplugs, no music. If you want to go into silver standard type of mode, earplugs plus bone conduction headphones. If you're not aware of bone conduction headphones, you are behind, buddy. Like, they are cool and they are popular, especially with the running community. You're telling me I can put music on, I can listen to it, but I can hear all of my surroundings too. It satisfies survival. We are built to survive, not perform. So the better you satisfy survival, the more unlocked performance you receive. So just by putting bone conduction headphones play the same music, you're on the phone the same way, but they go right to where the hearing bones are, not through the ear holes. So you have two different ways that you can hear, vibration here or sound waves there. Really cool. So that would be a massive step in the right direction. Let's say, all right, I'm not going to do bone conduction. I'm not putting earplugs in. I'm listening to music. Just go to the wired version of a headphone. Ideally, it is not noise cancellation. Ideally, it is a wire that plugs into your headphone, that plugs into your phone or your device, and you are listening. Not doing that. Okay, use your noise cancellation headphones. Just turn the noise cancellation off. So there is a standard for just listening to music, just hearing things, podcasts, whatever it is. So what you do with that, or what behavior you have to listen to music and podcasts, matter on flights. We'll go right quickly through the recap again. Earplugs, no music or sound. Earplugs plus aftershocks or bone conduction headphones. Normal headphones. We could even go that far. Better over ear than in ear. It's more designed how we hear things. We hear things from the environment coming in, not straight shot into the ear holes. So over ear versus earbud. Then we go corded versus wireless. Then we go noise cancellation would be last. Like, again, you're not doing much if you just keep doing that. So that would be the spectrum of using headphones on flight. What else is going on? Your vision system is saying, hey, we're just sitting in a room. The more we stress the vision system while we're already stressing the balance system, the worse things are after a flight. What are most people doing now on an airplane? Staring at their phones. As a person that doesn't stare at their phone and spends as little time as I can on it, wow, people watching has gotten so freaking boring. So boring. Everyone just sits like this. No one's looking around, no one's smiling, no one's interacting. The people watching sucks now because Everyone's doing the same dang thing. They look like cyborgs connected into their cell phones. And they are. So you are staring at your device. How long on this flight? Did you know that screen time reduces blinking rates up to 60%? So now every blink is a micro break for your eyes and your nervous system. You are now getting 60% less rest breaks than you did prior to staring at your cell phone. Did you know that respiration rates change on cell phones? You are actually getting less of a fuel supply. You are increasing a gas exchange ratio out of whack the longer you're on your phone. So now I'm breathing less, so I'm more stressed because I'm not getting fuel for my nervous system. I am blinking less, so I am stressing out my eyes and my nervous system because it's getting less breaks. I'm listening to noise cancellation headphones that piss off the balance nerve and take away my ability to understand my environment from a hearing perspective, which is major for survival. To go back, runners wearing aftershocks are running faster because they get to hear their surroundings. So if a tiger is running behind them, they'll know. And they're running faster and they're feeling better. Go figure. Just by satisfying survival in a better way than we were taking away our ability to hear our surroundings. So we're setting ourselves up. We've got our noise cancellation headphones pissing off the balance nerve that's already pissed off because it's not getting the same information as we're sitting in a chair in a stationary room. So this is why I think most people are dealing with something, whether you know it or not. And it could be so simple. High-level athletics, the so simple is a very obvious magnitude. That's why I like going there. I missed when we needed to score. I got the chance. It was perfect. It was right there, and I missed. What if not being on a phone, looking around your stationary environment, doing some respiratory mindfulness training, respiratory drills, while wearing aftershocks or bone conduction headphones to listen to music or a podcast with earplugs in, makes me score that goal. Woo! It's exciting to think about because it is absolutely possible. So that's what's going on flights. Movement system. Pretty simple. Yeah, you're just sitting in a chair. So the more that you can just get up and move, we're not designed to sit for very long. I think NFL put out the Play 60 initiative for kids. Kids should play a minimum of 60 minutes a day. I think it's actually opposite from neurologic perspective. I think it's don't let a kid sit for more than 60 minutes at a time. That's the reality. We are designed and wired to move and move really well. Think about it from a survival perspective. If we can't move very well, we're probably not lasting very long. So we need to move extremely well based on what our environment and what signals that we're getting. So now you're on your flight, and we just explained what could look different. Other things to consider. Hydration. Yeah, no one likes to get up and pee all the time, but the change in elevation changes our fluid dynamics. So having more water is a good idea to counteract the dehydration that can happen on flights. Snacks. Your brain is already stressed out. It is already dealing with a sensory mismatch. It's already got noise cancellation headphones on. It's already staring at a screen for too long. It's already pissed off. Feed it. Your brain needs two things to survive, fuel and activation. So feed it. You're getting activation, plenty of it. You are hyperactivating your vision system. You are hyperactivating your balance system. Your balance system's pissed off already before we put the noise cancellation headphones on. And then we just say, yeah, all right, we're fine. I lost my train of thought. That's not going to make sense when you hear it. But fuel. Let's go. We are activating. We're just not activating our movement system, but we are very active neurologically. So fuel comes from breathing and what we eat. So you could practice breathing drills. I love practicing breathing drills on flights. I sit nice and tall. I've got my earplugs in. My eyes are closed. The hardest part about breathing drills is doing enough volume. If you're doing 23 to 25,000 breaths a day, one or two might make a small momentary impact. If you're lucky, it might make a relatively noticeable impact for a short amount of time. But the reality is, it's like 15 minutes of breathing drills. That's a big game changer. 5 minutes. And that is a big part of mindfulness and respiration exercise is putting in the time with enough awareness. You can't say, oh, I just did a breathing drill for 15 minutes and I thought about my whole friend group the whole time. It doesn't work. You need to pay attention because it's a subconscious process. And that's a lot of neurologic training is taking something subconscious, bringing it to awareness to improve it, and allowing it to go back to subconscious, working better. It's a big part of it. So, fuel. We're not talking what a rabbit hole that we could go on, but we are not here to talk about food right now. We'll just give you some gold standards so you can do something with them. Great fuel sources: fruit, dried fruit, fresh fruit, air dried fruit, fruit leathers, stuff like that. Great. It is sugar. Sugar is the only thing that your brain takes, so you are ultimately making your brain happier by saying, here's some easily digested and preferable fuel from glucose that breaks down from our fruits. Other ideas: juice. So orange juice, apple juice, guava juice, stuff like that. Liquid sugar digests and is used faster. Honey, I'm not one to say I haven't, but I have gotten a honey bear, and in situations, I just lick on that honey bear. That is how I spent most of the 32 hours in Z Health courses learning neurology, neuroscience, applied neuroanatomy, whatever you want to call it, and to learning how to coach it and assess it, to getting it done on myself so someone else can learn how to coach a test, and it is a grind of 8 hours a day. You got an hour for lunch, and there's 4 and 4 on either side, I think, something like that. But 8 hours, and man, it's hard to focus that long and really grasp the material. So I would bring orange juice, I would bring a honey bear, I would bring some protein and fat for between the efforts. But man, I'm taking notes, lick, taking notes, sip, taking notes, lick, whatever I felt like I wanted at that time. Because if you do enough honey, it can get a little, or if you just do orange juice, it can get a little. Dark chocolate, another great one. The thing you have to worry about with chocolate are the additives. Again, not a nutrition conversation, but yeah, additives matter, especially since they're in everything. So chocolate would be a good. We talk fruit juice. Anything that is sugar-based, and that's where it kind of gets into the weeds of if you're eating a bag of Sour Patch Kids on a flight from San Diego to New York, and that's the only bag of Sour Patch Kids that you really have, it's a very one-off situation, cool. But if you're a kid and you slam candy and your diet sucks, or you're an athlete and your diet sucks, go to the hierarchy, go to the fruits, go to the natural sugars, go to those types of things. But in a pinch, yes, any of the garbage candy out there. I call it garbage because a lot of it is additives that we tested on rats for a little while and said, oh, they seem to be fine, so let's feed it to humans the rest of their lives in all the foods that they eat. We didn't do that study, but I'm very, very confident that it is really screwing with our gut biome, and our gut biome is a part of us as humans, and it can change your emotions, change you, change your person. It's a big deal. So we'll get into food and stuff like that some other time. So for your next flight, these are things to consider. How much are you looking at your screen? Ideally, it's under half that flight. The lower you can get that number, the better. Yes, that means you have to do other things. I know, you might have to go back into human evolution and start reading, or get a puzzle book, or get a deck of cards. Get some sort of physical game. It sounds brutal, I know. We live in this cyborg world of I gotta be on my phone. Did you know that it was designed for the I gotta be on it effect? Yeah, someone else is winning at your expense every time you stare at that thing. And they are making a whole lot of money on that win, while you get worse. Nice and simple. You get worse from staring at your phone while someone gets rich because they made it that way. It's a really fun concept. So don't stare at your phone. Don't stare at a tablet. Spend a minimal amount of time on it. Right now, I'm telling my clients, the athletes I work with, no more than half the flight. Ideally, it's under an hour. Be aware during takeoff and landing. Sit nice and tall in your chair, close your eyes, and be aware of the balance changes. Ooh, I'm in a different place. We're going up. We're banking right. We're leveling out. And then on the decline, going back down on the descent, whoa, we're tipping forward. We're slowing down. Be aware of those two major moments. If there's turbulence during your flight, sit there and be aware of it. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Try and breathe. If you can add fuel to those moments of super stress for your brain, you minimize the problems. So you're aware on takeoff, you're aware on landing. You're not doing anything. You're sitting tall. You are essentially meditating on where you are right now. Then we get to cruising altitude. I've got my earplugs in already. It's nice and quiet. It's as quiet as I can make it. Maybe I do want to listen to some music. So I'll pull out my bone conduction headphones. I'll put those on. I'll listen to some music for a little while. Again, I'm aware that I don't want to do anything like long term in this situation because it's already stress immediately, like without doing anything. The sensory mismatch of a flight is enough to create some stress that will create a negative impact for you when you get there. So for me, again, I just put earplugs in and I go and I read and I am meditating and I am practicing breathing drills. That is any flight for me, and it works great. I feel so much better when I land. I feel like I have less time to make up for lost, and I perform better. I hit a ball better on the road. Feel like it works. It has absolutely been a game changer, and I bring a water bottle. Yes, you have to empty it before going through the security checkpoint. Yes, you can fill it when you get through that security checkpoint. So I have an ample enough amount of water for the flight that I've got. You're reading. You're playing cards. You're talking to somebody. What a novel idea of talking to a stranger and getting to know somebody. That's one of my favorite parts of traveling alone. Is I'll meet people. Because I'm not glued to that thing. And yeah, there's a person sitting like shoulder to shoulder. Maybe this would be a more comfortable flight if I at least knew their name. Maybe I introduced myself. So having conversations, that kind of stuff, playing puzzles, word searches, that type of stuff is great. So now you've got an idea. Hey, flying and travel, there's stress. Whether you know it or not, you are coming off of that travel experience lesser than you started it. For, again, most people. In athlete populations, that probably leads to a lesser performance on the road. Maybe we eke through it, but did we need to eke through it? I don't know. It's a question, again, you won't know it's better until you try something else. So I'm looking at it going, hey, you missed that target, and you desperately needed to hit that target to move on in the World Cup that you're playing in, is it worth maybe not wearing your noise cancellation headphones for a flight? It would be for me. Man, seeing the disappointment on some of these faces after really tight games, it's like, yeah, I bet you would be in. It's just not common knowledge yet, and I am not all over the world. So we know flights, travel, everything of the sort creates a stressful environment. It's called sensory mismatch. We talked about flights specifically. Your movement system saying, whatever, dude, we're sitting in a chair, it's not moving. Your vision system's going, yeah, I agree. We are just sitting in a room. unless I look down and then we go, oh, we are actually sitting in a room very far off the ground. But we're not getting that constant input. Most of the input is we're sitting in a room. Balance system. We're going 500 miles an hour, thousands of feet off the ground. Integration of all of that, stressed. It's not getting the same information, so it's trying to make sense of it. It's burning calories left and right, and it is creating a stressful nervous system, a sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight and flight. So we don't want to be stuck in fight and flight. We are wired for fight and flight. We need to be able to knock free and get into that rest and digest parasympathetic world. Because if not, we just keep amping and amping and amping. A lot of injuries come from a hyperactive athlete after they land. Now they're too wound up, and that moment that shouldn't have been a big deal is now my ankle hurts. But so again, it's stuff to consider. So have fun with it. Let me know what happens if you do change some things. I'm very curious about this concept. I think there is something to it. I'm seeing it with my clients. I felt it with myself. Now, go give it a shot or don't, and have fun with it. Sensory mismatch on flights. It matters for your performance.